What's up, fam? Tuesday night, Birds of a Feather, live from the Real Talk Studios on A2DRadio.com. Coming at you old school tonight. We'll explain that momentarily, but we are brought to you by Specialized Physical Therapy. Dr. Paul Vidal in Burlington, Cherry Hill, and Princeton, New Jersey. No appointment necessary. Go see the doctor. You can find him at specializedphysicaltherapy.com. And also brought to you by Ambuck Services Gutter Cleaning, 856-879-5530. You can visit them at the web at ambuckservices.com. Rotted board replacements, deck restoration and staining, gutter guard installation, gutter cleaning and repair, deck installation, tree trimming, whatever you need, Ambuck Services has you covered. Check them out again, ambuckservices.com. Our ATS Sports picks. Topic of conversation tonight is Chuck's. What's the topic of conversation tonight?
So, wait, you don't.
I didn't look at it.
Well, we will be reacting to Super Bowl 54.
Right.
And as a leadoff poll question, the Super Bowl lived up to expectations, agree or disagree?
Okay, so
Yep.
there we go.
There
Agree,
it
disagree.
is.
And again, that's brought to you by ATS Sports Picks. You can find them at atsportspick.com. Use the promo code A2D. Get you 20% off all first-time purchases. This was one of the biggest betting weekends in sports just generally in the year. So hopefully you guys took advantage this weekend. But if you haven't, lots of time, lots of sports. We're going to be kicking off March Madness soon. You know, we're about a month away. So, listen, man, try to win some money on A2D. So, yeah, guys, Super Bowl 54 this week. We're going to recap that. It was quite an interesting game. And, obviously, you got Chrome and Chuck's Mr. Brodo over here on the ones and twos, and he's going to be talking with us tonight.
Gentlemen, how are you? How are you?
Pete is not here. Pete took a personal day. And due to recent events on the show, and if all you guys tuned in particularly last week, there were some statements made on the air, on this show, that as the week's gone on and we've had time to reflect, our resident Patriots fan, Kevin Godwin, has received a 1-week suspension from the show. I think we needed to give him time to get his head right, get himself together, and then come back next week well rested and ready to have a conversation. And not tell us that Jimmy Garoppolo is better than Pat Mahomes. And we have that proven this week, folks.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Listen, Instagram, Twitter, Periscope, Facebook, YouTube, whatever you're on, we want to talk to you guys. We want your reactions to Super Bowl 54. The Kansas City Chiefs, basically in the fourth quarter alone, win the Super Bowl.
Less than. It was like
Final
it was
7
like the
minutes.
final 7. Yeah.
They played 7 minutes in this game, and they won the Super Bowl over a what I would say is a very game 49ers team for 3 quarters and a few minutes into the
They made
fourth.
them work for it. They absolutely
did.
made them work for it.
You know, listen, they made Andy have to figure out a way to make adjustments and come back. But, Andy Reid gets his ring. In terms of did this Super Bowl live up to expectations? I would say yes in terms of excitement. Yes, in terms of the best player on the field, to me, by the end of the game, had the best day. You could argue maybe Sammy Watkins, too, because Sammy Watkins had a ball game as well.
When you talk about Chris Jones,
I mean,
Chris Jones was all over the field
Yeah, I
for
mean,
the Chiefs.
There's a lot
Yeah.
of players. I mean, even on the other side with San Francisco.
Nick Bosa,
Deebo Samuel had a good
oh
game.
my God, yeah.
In terms of the young and more established talent in this game, the playmakers, I don't think it disappointed. Did we expect more of a fight for 4 quarters? Probably.
More. We expected a higher scoring game.
We
I think,
did.
yeah. Yeah. But it does not to say that it was a snooze fest like last year. I think I think it lived up to expectations, at least for me, because it was close. Even though Niners were up 10-0, and I kept saying here as we were watching AT&T Studios, I was like, I know we had like Ralphie freaking out, like, oh, the game's over. I was like, guys, it's 10 points. The Chiefs can come. All it takes is one long bomb to Tyreek Hill, and they're back in it. And you saw what happened. One fourth down play, Tyreek Hill, and that was the momentum swing. And so for me, in terms of excitement and everything, it absolutely lived up to expectations. It was a defensive. I feel like each team were making plays, but the defense on both sides throughout were just they were making things very difficult for the other. You know what I mean? Like it's I wouldn't say that. Whereas last year, it was just bad offensive play, and they were sloppy and everything. I wouldn't say that both sides were sloppy. I think that Mahomes had a hard time dealing with that pressure because Kansas City they left their 5 blockers in. With the speed that they have, they don't leave anyone in to block and help out for pass protection. So they were leaving just five blockers in for that pass rush, and they were having trouble throughout most of the game, and that's what caused Mahomes to not have his best game through the first 3 quarters. But eventually they were able to hit some plays, and they got into a rhythm, and they figured just enough out to win it out in the end. But it was, to me, I was keyed in the whole time, even except for maybe the first 5 minutes, because the other part that lived up to expectations was the halftime show. And I think all of us after the halftime show was like, oh wait, there's still football to be played, so we're still kind of recovering. But overall, yes, the Super Bowl to me lived up to expectations, absolutely.
Ryan?
I completely agree with the bowl. When you look at the entire, because at the end of the day, the Super Bowl is entertainment. It's a show. Every part of it, the Super Bowl, obviously, the commercials, the pregame show, the postgame show, and everything in between, the halftime show. Number one, compared to last year, it already exceeded expectations, I think, after 7 minutes.
Yes.
I think you said that. Like,
Actually,
after
yeah.
7 minutes, I'm like, oh, my God, this is better than last year already.
Yeah.
And then I think the only quote-unquote criticism towards this game you could say is, oh, they didn't have the high-scoring game that some people expected. But it doesn't matter because throughout the entire game, there was no dead periods.
Yeah.
There was a story throughout. At the beginning, it was obviously Mahomes' struggles. And then in the fourth quarter, it was the resurgence of Mahomes.
Yeah.
I was thoroughly entertained the entire time. I mean, to Chuck's point, at the very beginning of the third quarter, we were in quote-unquote recovery mode because of things that happened during the halftime show, which everyone knows what we're talking about. But that's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
That's the only time we had our minds off of football.
Yeah.
But to me, I thought the entire night was fun. Obviously, we were watching it here. I don't think there was any point in the night where we got bored.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think we were having fun the entire night. So because of that, I feel like it was a successful Super Bowl.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think too, when you look at it, was it memorable? Is there stuff that you're going to go back and you're going to remember? Like you can go back and remember, the Falcons blowing a 24-point lead. You go back and obviously
25-point lead.
25-point lead. Excuse me. You go back and you look at obviously our Super Bowl against New England. And the plays in the
2-year
back
anniversary,
and forth
by the way.
battle, 2-year anniversary, happy anniversary. And did it leave a memorable impression? There's nothing from last year that I go back and I remember. Like to me, it was one of the worst games I saw throughout the year. I mean, defensively, if you're a defensive guy, I could see you taking a lot from last year's game. But you guys are kind of spot on with, the Super Bowl is kind of larger than life. It's the game. But there's a lot more that goes to it. How many other things are people not DVRing through the commercial breaks? You know what I mean? It's one time where we weren't engaged in what was going on. There was some somber times it looked like in those first 3 quarters, though, until you put your head on Ralphie's head, or your hand on Ralphie's head. Kind of swayed the momentum, Mr. Brodo. putting your hand on Ralphie's head, and that kind of swayed the momentum.
Listen, we did what we needed to do.
I mean, some things are bigger than us.
Yes.
Sacrifices had to be made.
I had to wash my hands probably 100 times when I got home because that forehead/hand got very sweaty. And I have the photos to prove it.
Oh, man. But no, I mean, I think the game lived up to expectation. And, again, one of the things you want to see, too, is you want to see star players play like a star player.
Yeah.
And the legacy of Pat Mahomes has now been cemented and will just grow from here with how young of a quarterback that he is. So,
24.
you know, the big thing for me, and we've had this debate numerous times on the show, in the Real Talk group, Andy Reid, Hall of Fame head coach. Agree, disagree. Prior to this, we've had that conversation. I look at Andy, and we know that historically he's in the top 3 to 5 head coaches of all time in terms of success, regular season, and playoffs without a Super Bowl. But I think the one thing that kind of dawned on a lot of us, and particularly this year, it's interesting that it's highlighted this year, when you see Jimmy Johnson, and Bill Cowher going in, is are there guys who are in the Super Bowl in the Hall of Fame who have never won a Super Bowl? There is. They're very few and far between if you actually look up the list. Not just Super Bowl, because some guys were NFL championship type of guys.
Oh, yeah,
back
before
then.
the merger.
Guys who won championships, whether it's college or pros. And you can go back, and they're few and far between. The only guy who I can think of off the top of my head, even of the last 30 years, is Marv Levy.
Oh,
It's
okay.
the only Hall of Fame coach I can think of that did not win a Super Bowl, but he went to 4 straight.
Wait, the 4 straight.
But I don't think Andy Reid would have gotten in. Do I think he's a Hall of Fame head coach? Absolutely. But if we're waiting this long for Bill Cowher, who never had the success that Andy had, and Jimmy Johnson, who had tons of success as a head coach, 2 Super Bowls, national championship, and it took this long for Jimmy Johnson to get in, I don't think Andy would have got in. But I think now Jimmy Johnson is a surefire – Andy Reid is a surefire Hall of Fame head coach now. And I believe – personally, it could not have happened to a better guy. We know the ups and downs and the trials and tribulations that happen here in Philadelphia, off the field, with his family and himself, and some of the circus that came with certain personnel on the field. But I don't think there's a better guy in the game in terms of a head coach overall, in terms of actual coaching and the way he's admired by his players than Andy Reid. And I'm happy to see that Andy's finally getting his Super Bowl ring. And to me, the next stop, he might get more. But undoubtedly, Andy's next stop or final stop, whenever he decides to call it a day, is Canton.
Yeah.
And I think he'll get in sooner than later now. So
I absolutely agree. It's one of those where before the Super Bowl win for him, I agree with you. His resume, I'm not the type of person who, I'll look at Super Bowl wins, and that's, the defining factor. I always look deeper than that when it comes to players, coaches, everything. It's a team sport, and there are always factors. So I think that even without the Super Bowl win, to me, he was a Hall of Fame caliber coach. But, the voters, they don't see it that way. I disagree with the voters a lot when it comes to this. So when there's to their selection process and everything, and I think it's very flawed. I think some of them are, honestly, they sit high on their horse and they really don't know much about football. But that's another topic. I think that Andy Reid is one of the best coaches of our generation, and
Sure.
And you can't deny what he's able to do on a consistent basis for his teams. But this absolutely solidifies it. He's going to get in. I don't think it'll take as long as it did for some other guys. I think his resume is better than guys like Jimmy Johnson and Bill Cowher, even though Jimmy Johnson does have the 2.
Jimmy Johnson's tough, though, because he
It's tough.
he has college and pro success.
Yeah.
And multiple championships.
Yeah.
Bill Cowher, I'm 1,000% on board with
Yeah.
you on. And
Yeah.
Bill Cowher is one of the greatest head coaches of the last
Yeah.
25 years.
Yeah.
And to me, he's a no-brainer Hall of Fame head coach as well.
Yeah. So Andy he's going to get in, and I'm so happy for him. And I know there were a few people on Facebook that are like, "Why are you cheering? I thought you were rooting for the Niners." Yeah, I was rooting for the Niners, but I said it since they both won the NFC and AFC championship games. I love this Super Bowl because I honestly am happy with both teams. I like both teams, and every time I thought about, and this is me being really cavalier, every time I thought about the Niners winning, I would always look at and think about Andy losing another one, and it was just like, damn, that would suck though. You know what I mean? Like, cause I love Andy. I take my shots at him every now and then for fun, and I think we all like I said before, he has his flaws that annoyed us and really got on our nerves when he was coaching for us. And I think that's fine. Like, you're going to have criticisms for a coach no matter what. We criticize Doug Peterson, and we love Doug P. But Andy Reid I've always rooted for Andy Reid for what he did and for who he was as a human being. And the thought of him possibly losing another Super Bowl, a second one, that really was tough for me to swallow. So with him winning one, it was tough to see the Niners, a team I've been rooting for all year, lose, but I easily got over it when I see Andy Reid, celebrating and finally getting that championship. Because, I mean, it's tough to predict and it's tough to forecast and assume, but I still do think that the Niners are going to be a contender for years. Will they get to another Super Bowl? We don't know, but they are going to be in contention. They're a young team, so they could have another shot at it. The Seahawks got back to they went to 2 straight Super Bowls, won the first one, lost the second one. I mean, I don't think anyone would be surprised if the Niners reach another one within the next couple years. So it's easy for me to get over seeing them lose, but it's really uplifting to see Andy Reid celebrate and be happy, and I'm so ecstatic for him, his family, and just thinking about everything that not only he but his family has been through. You can't help but be happy for them.
Yeah, and listen, he threw love out to Philly too. I mean,
yeah.
I don't mind saying that I had a little happy smirk from that. He doesn't forget where he came from, and that built a lot of his legacy. It was his time in Philadelphia. And the thing is, I heard the narrative, well, he's going to be remembered as a Chief. And rightfully so, there will be a part that's remembered as a Chief, but his time in Philadelphia is never going to be forgotten.
Yeah.
The bulk of his success was there, and maybe he'll get back and win another one with
Kansas
Kansas
City. 12
City.
years? How long was it with us?
14.
14, yeah. That's a long time. That's a long time.
Yeah. That's a lot of body of work. And he had a lot of success. He never got over the top, but it's very, very naive to sit back and say, well, Andy Reid's going to be remembered as a Chief now forever. No, he's going to be remembered as a great head coach.
Yeah, for both two franchises.
For 2 franchises.
Yeah.
Did he get to the ultimate climax? And the argument I had was, well, does that mean then Justin Verlander will be remembered as an Astro when he goes into the Hall of Fame? It's baseball, but Chuck's.
Yeah, sorry.
But
I wish I could.
will he be an Astro because he won a World Series with the Astros and that's going to be his legacy now? No, he's always going to be remembered for his time there. So I'm happy for him. I'm happy to see even people who
Ray Bork. Sorry. Ray Bork.
Right.
Won one with Colorado, but
one.
he's
never won with the Bruins.
Yeah.
But he's a Bruin.
He's a Bruin.
That's a great one, by the way. I didn't even think of him when I was having that.
I was trying to scan through other sports, and I was like, oh, yeah, there you go, Ray Bork.
Yeah, I mean, you go back and you think about these guys, and am I going to sit back or I can even say this. Going back, and I was happy and pleasantly surprised that a lot of people were skeptical of that throughout the week, and I saw those same people, a portion of them. I guess when you actually see Andy finally get that moment, back off of it a little bit and congratulate him and have a little bit of a sense of pride in it. So, But yeah, I mean, they pressured Pat Mahomes so much throughout this game, and I think that it showed. We talked about it constantly. Mahomes didn't look like Mahomes throughout this ball game. Not a lot of time to throw. The pocket collapsed quite a bit. he was throwing behind guys, throwing at guys' feet at some points. You know, we were making the joke.
Oh, that's a McNabb.
We got another McNabb throw. How could you have it? McNabb talked to him before? Like joking, but
Yeah.
you know, the thing I always want to see though, and we know this kid's true skills from the start of the whistle to the final whistle. You want to see great players on the biggest stage step up and win. And to me, the best player on the field made the biggest difference when the time mattered the most. And that was the X factor in this ball game. And once they started rolling, we said it early, right? We were talking, you know, and it came later than we expected, but you saw the game. Was it the Texans or the Tennessee? I think it was the Texans game.
Texans.
They got behind early.
Yeah.
And once that team starts rolling, we said it. We said they could put up 21 points in 5 minutes.
Yes.
And it was literally like 7 minutes that they put up 21 points. So, I mean, I loved the game. I thought it was entertaining pretty much beginning to end, frustrating points. But, you know, you saw two great teams go at it, and you saw the best player on the field step up and solidify himself as, to me, the best player in the league.
Undoubtedly, Kevin. Undoubtedly the best player in the league. And it's Dan Orlovsky. I didn't watch the whole video, but Dan Orlovsky on ESPN, great analyst by the way. He had said that like he felt that Mahomes' performance was like I guess the best performance we've seen all season or something like that. And a lot of people on Twitter were blasting him for it, but even though I might disagree that it's the best, I can understand where he's coming from because one, like you said, it's the biggest game. It's the biggest moment. So that's always going to have gravity and weight to it. Mm-hmm. Two, having the best game isn't always just about playing your best football throughout the whole game and putting up the biggest numbers. Sometimes your best game is when things aren't going right, what are you going to do to answer and bounce back and finish the game? It's how you finish. Like when, you know, in football the term is quicksand. You know, as a quarterback or as a player or whatnot, one thing goes wrong, another thing goes wrong. You find everything going wrong, and it's sometimes very difficult to fight yourself back from it. We saw Carson go through his struggles in the middle of the season, and it went on for several games where he was struggling, but he eventually found his way back. Mahomes, over the course of this game, he wasn't on. You know, that pressure was getting to him, and even though he was running around, that clearly affected his arm, his throws, his execution, and it happens. But as a great player, what do you do to respond and bounce back from that? Do you have it within you to just forget about the previous play, make the most out of the very next play? Mm-hmm. And I think we need to remember that, like I said, the turning point to me, the momentum swing was the long pass to Tyreek Hill. But that was on 4th and 15. Before that, it was 3rd and 15, and he threw that pass to Tyreek Hill that was supposed to be converted for a first down, but it was overturned because the ball just barely hit the ground. You're talking about like a lot of teams would have folded. They would have been like, damn, like, you know, we had a first down, now it's 4th down, like we're in a tough hole. But Mahomes next play hits Tyreek Hill down the field on that kind of stuff is what great players, that's when they shine, and that's what makes their legacy. And I think it's great that I can understand why someone would want to say that this was the best performance we've seen from a QB all season. I don't hate that notion.
Yeah, on the book we had Andy Ritter, have a great show, boys. Happy anniversary. #FlyEaglesFly. Peter Evans, bring the house down tonight, boys. Frank Vespi, hey, yo, sorry to bother you at work. To answer the poll, 100% agree. A lot better than the slop that we saw last year. Let me pull them comments back. So they're going to be a little out of order here. A lot better than the slop that we saw last year. My only gripe, needed more Shakira and J-Lo. Bill Middlebrook says next year, boys, the only two teams in the NFC that have better odds to win the Super Bowl in Vegas is the Niners and Dallas. Woo, let's go. That's from Bill. Tom says it definitely lived up to expectations. Bill said, question, after seeing the Hulu commercial, where's Brady playing next year? I think that message was clear. I'm not going anywhere. We'll talk about that in the second half. We're in a later segment, right? Because we're going to do some off-season conversation. Raska says, are you guys going to talk about Shakira's tongue? Come on, Raska.
I think he's talking about the
Yeah, we know what he's talking about. Tom says, old school show.
Yeah.
Raska saying hi to Ryan. Pete says, bring the house down tonight, boys. Appreciate you, Pete. We miss you, buddy. Bill said, absolutely, Chucks. Vegas has them as the NFC favorites next year. Frank said that you beat him to it with the Ray Bork comparison. And Rosk also says Steve Thomas and Adam Oates with the Mighty Ducks.
Ooh, Adam Oates.
Yeah, that's another good one. Vespi says, so you guys shunned Kevin for a week, huh?
Yep, suspension for disorderly conduct.
Pete says 1 week reprieve. Raska saying, what's up, boys? Chiefs should have won back-to-back Super Bowl championships, beating the Rams last year. I never understand the should have stuff.
Yeah.
Are we back on? Is it the same feed? I got to start a new one, right?
New one.
Raska says, Chiefs embarrass 49ers. Roman Reigns runs his mouth like a shithead. I don't know, man. Steve White says, hello, guys.
Steve White.
So
hey, Steve.
Get us going back here. All right, so we're back on Facebook.
Apologies, guys.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys.
But we're back.
We wanted to make sure we took care of any of the technical difficulties. So jump in the new chat.
Yeah, there you go. New chat.
Yeah. So,
Kyle Shanahan, though. Can we have a conversation?
Chucks, we can talk about anything that you want to talk about, buddy.
So, like, I'm going to approach this from two different things. Because one side, there are, and rightfully so. I'm not defending. I'm not saying they shouldn't. But a lot of people are criticizing him and bashing him, and rightfully so. I feel like he was the main reason why the Niners lost this game. A lot of people point the finger at Jimmy G, and he deserves blame too. But I mainly point at Kyle Shanahan, and you guys already know how I feel. But that before the end of the first half, when he had all 3 timeouts and 2 minutes left, and he ran the ball twice, didn't use any of his timeouts, I was screaming at the TV like, "What are you doing?" Like that. When I always talked about my love for Kyle Shanahan and my love for Doug Peterson, they're my two favorite head coaches. You know, they asked me like, what makes one better than the other, or how do you compare? Kyle Shanahan, I think, is one of the best X's and O's guys in the game. He's a genius. However, he does not have the in-game. What was the word I'm looking for? The in-game like decision-making and management and aggressiveness and mindset that Doug Peterson has. You would not see Doug Peterson doing what he did. Mm-hmm. You would not see Doug Peterson playing conservatively.
Yeah, that was
like
really,
he goes for what is it? We talk about the Super Bowl against the Patriots. Fourth down, he had no hesitation. He was going for it.
Yeah.
He cutthroat, play to win. Kyle Shanahan showed
there was so much time on the clock
so
at
much
the end
time.
of that first half, and they were getting the ball back.
Yeah.
You got a chance to at
The
least
twofer.
put up 3.
Exactly. And then come back and then score at the beginning of the
Every
second.
point in the Super Bowl matters.
It matters. And as you can see, if they had at least gotten 3, and it's crazy because they passed on third down, and they converted, and then they hit the long shot to Kittle, which got called back to OPI. But if they had that extra minute, they still could have gotten into field goal range. It doesn't make sense. You get that 3 points. That 3 points would have made such a big difference.
They weren't even good running plays either.
Like it's I mean, it's that, and then if you're talking about someone in the divisional round and in the conference championship ran the ball regardless and said, "You're not going to stop us running the ball." And they were running the ball very well against the Chiefs. The Chiefs could not stop them, but for some reason in the second half, he wanted to pass a little bit more. And I I know you fall in love with the weapons you have in George Kittle and Debo Samuel and also Emmanuel Sanders. But the Chiefs have a good pass defense. All right, their secondary is good. Their pass defense is one of the best in the league toward the end of the year. And then their pass rush is good. They have Chris Jones and Frank Clark. Like they can get and Tyrann Matthew is an awesome blitzer. Like they have the pieces to stop you in the passing game. Why are you not running the ball more? Run it down their throat. You're getting 6 yards a pop. I don't know why you stopped running it. So to me, Kyle Shanahan deserves to be criticized. I never really put most of the blame on him for the Falcons' loss because he scored 28 points.
Right.
28 points. Like your defense is the one I'm looking at. But for this game, you have the lead. You also have a chance and before the half to take the lead. You messed up. At the same time, I'll just throw in that let's not throw him under the bus and say that oh he's a fraud coach or he sucks. I've been seeing a lot of that and I don't want to go overboard. Let's not forget what he did this season.
Listen, I mean he's a young head coach and I think that he'll learn from this. But that being said, I think particularly everything that the end of the first half showed me played out as the game went along. Because do I think that they felt like they were content with a 10-point lead and that they were watching how the defense was handling Kansas City, and were content to time manage at that point and just basically try to take as much time off of the clock as possible? It's exactly what it looked like to me. When you have an opportunity with your timeouts to go down the field and put, I don't care if it's 3 points on the freaking board, you do it. And he got way too conservative, way too early in the game with a team that has proven, even before they actually proved it in this game, that they can put up a big double crooked number in a very quick, short period of time.
Mm-hmm.
He rested on his laurels there, and that to me that's unacceptable. And I think he'll learn from this.
I think he will too, but it's going to be a tough pill to swallow.
You're absolutely spot on. He is going to have a lot to go back and think about in this offseason, because I think the moment got him. I think the moment got to him, to be honest. I just think the spotlight in that moment got to him, and he started to coach a conservative game in a game that you have to coach the most aggressive you're ever going to coach in your life.
He choked, and I love Kyle, but he choked. And I'm not afraid to say it. I'll call it as is. He choked, and he's got to, man, take a page from Doug P., take a page from Bill Belichick. You have to play to win. You cannot play scared.
We have our quirks about Doug's coaching and play calling at times that make us scratch our heads or want to bang our head against the wall. Absolutely. But, I take the coach who has also proven it to me in the biggest game in the world, that he will go out there and he will step on the gas from first whistle to last whistle and take shots and take risks to win a game. Mm-hmm. I will take that head coach all day, every day. I would rather live and die by that sword than to sit back. And Andy used to do a lot of that.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that did drive us crazy about Andy is that over that 14-year stretch, Andy played too conservative during important stretches where, I mean, obviously the game's evolved and everybody's more aggressive now. We were talking the other night about, our kicker's going to be obsolete and the fullback going to return. You know what I mean? That day may come, and maybe sooner than later. And it's because of the way that the game is coached now. It's suited for guys like Doug. And I believe that Kyle Shanahan will learn from this. But he has a lot of, I don't want to say soul searching, but
long off season.
He definitely has to go back and look at himself a little bit and see what went wrong and figure that out next year.
What's shocking to me is that it's like I said, I never put the blame on him for the Falcons loss, but a lot of people did, and he hears that stuff. He's obviously conscious of that stuff. So it looked like going through the playoffs and going through the whole season, he was trying to make a point that he had learned from that. that he wasn't going to make the same mistake. But the fact that he made the same mistake, that's what's really puzzling because you would think he's smarter than that. But like you said, the pressure got to him and he choked.
Roska says, why I said Chiefs should have won back-to-back Super Bowls. The Patriots got helped by refs to screw the Chiefs last year.
No, D Ford screwed the team.
Yeah. Bill says, with 2 minutes left, you can also look at it like this. Where in this game, I'm not going to make a mistake on this side of the field or watch Jimmy throw another pick. The end game is where he played too conservative. So I respectfully, Bill, I disagree.
I can see where he's coming from.
I understand the point, but you have to have faith in the quarterback that got you there. We're not talking about Trent Dilfer's out there as your quarterback. Yeah, I think that you got breaking news.
Per Jeff Passan, the Red Sox have agreed to trade Mookie Betts and David Price to the Dodgers.
Not a surprise. That's kind of been leaked out there, and that David Price would be tied to that. Ooh, man, that Dodgers team's going to be tough next year. Wow, that's a huge acquisition.
Baseball.
Whew.
Well, Mookie Betts is one of the best players in baseball, Chuck.
Okay.
He
got traded from where to where?
He's almost at a Mike Trout level.
He got traded from where to where?
To the Los Angeles Dodgers.
From Boston.
Dodgers said,
Why would
screw
they
this. I
trade-
ain't letting nobody cheat us. We're
Real
just going to
quick-
put the most talent on the
Real
field.
quick. Why would Boston be willing to trade him?
Because Boston's got a lot of uncertainty right now. They're entering a rebuild at this
They're
point.
like in an overhaul.
Yeah.
So they're getting rid of best players and for like I guess future capital.
Well, probably some top. If it's Mookie Betts, they're probably getting a lot in return in terms of minor leaguers.
Gotcha. Okay.
We'll look at it to break, and maybe during no huddle, me and Ryan will throw some thoughts out on that.
Gotcha.
Huge deal, though. So breaking news: the Boston Red Sox have traded Mookie Betts and David Price to the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Yeah.
I hate the Dodgers so much. I don't know what it is. I don't like Los Angeles baseball teams. I just never have. I can't get behind it. And it sucks because I love Mike Trout so
I
much.
hear you. To further your point, as a reply to Bill,
What's that? Wait, Ryan had a face.
So let me just read, because I know people are going to be asking what like the whole deal is. So I'm just going to read you the tweet verbatim. It says, breaking, Los Angeles Dodgers have agreed to a deal with the Boston Red Sox that would send star outfielder Mookie Betts and starter David Price to the Dodgers. Deal is pending medical reviews. There could also be a third team involved in the deal. Significant cash will be going the way wherever David Price lands, but the main player, Mookie Betts, will be a Dodger should medicals go as expected.
Interesting. So David Price may not be a Dodger. He may be on the move, but going elsewhere.
And then,
a team is going, and the Red Sox are going to pick up a lot of his portion of his contract, basically.
And then Alex Verdugo would go to Boston. He's the centerpiece. And then his involvement in a third team also possible. It's all about the money. So there could be a third team involved here that we are not aware of yet. So that's all I have at the moment. I'll keep everyone updated.
Is there any idea of who that third team could be? Nothing as of yet.
Not yet.
So we'll keep an eye on that. So, again, just to recap that before we move on, Mookie Betts and David Price on the move from the Boston Red Sox, pending physicals. David Price, we're not sure where he's going. He could go to a third team that we are not sure who that could be with cash considerations.
Because Betts is owed $27 million in 2020.
Right.
Price is owed $96 million over 3
Correct,
years.
right.
That's a lot of money for
Yeah.
two players for one team to take on.
Sure. So you're looking at Mookie Betts definitively going to the Dodgers. We don't know where David Price is going to go. Again, though, if the if the Red Sox are throwing cash in on this, I'm not ruling out that he could still end up there. I mean, they could end up absorbing half of that contract.
I wonder if the Angels or Padres are involved in this in any way. I wonder
We'll see.
if they're.
Maybe he's coming to the Phillies. Maybe Jake Arrieta's going.
No, you know our owner doesn't spend money. God forbid.
David Price ain't David Price like he used to be.
Yeah,
He has flashes of
freaking
it.
David Price
I'm
over
sure.
freaking Vince Velasquez.
You ain't wrong on
It's
that.
not my money.
In an uncapped sport, outsider looking in an uncapped sport, it's mind-boggling to hear someone say the owner doesn't want to spend money.
Well, Chucks, Here's the thing with this sport. As much as these teams spend, they still make so much more on top of it. That's why the Yankees can do what they want. They build a brand. That's why, as a Cardinals fan, I get furious because they have something called Ballpark Village, which is around the area of the stadium.
Okay.
They're actually building another phase of it. They own all of the buildings. They have a museum there that's open all year round. They have something like Xfinity Live. They have Fox Sports Midwest Live, I think, or something like that, where they own that. They get money from that. They are printing money left and right, but yet I hear my team constantly talk about payroll. They have added. They have 100. They added
uncapped sport. I can't put my head around
They
that.
got 100. Chucks, I'm going to tell you this. I'm not even talking about that. This is what drives me crazy, right? They got a $100 million TV deal, the Cardinals. An additional $100 million added to their freaking income or to their books financially. Yeah. And they have not raised payroll at all since adding $100 million of influx cash.
I'd be really.
It's annoying.
I'd be really
it's unnecessary.
Frustrated. If I was a baseball fan, I'd be really frustrated. It's an uncapped sport.
Their payroll is the same. It might have even gone down.
So Bill's on the same wavelength. I don't know. I don't know if it's a prediction, Bill, but this is what I had said a couple minutes ago. He says Price is getting flipped to the Padres to take on the other half of Price's salary. This I know for sure.
And it makes sense if it's the Padres.
Either them or the Angels. It made too much sense.
And I'll be real, that's a great scenario for David Price to go to because it's such a big ballpark too.
Mm-hmm.
So a guy at this stage in his career, that's a great ballpark for him to pitch in.
And that's a building team too. He'd be a good piece for them.
David Price. Why does he sound pitcher?
He pitched for Tampa Bay
when
against the Phillies.
Okay,
in the
that's
World
where
Series.
I heard him. I was like, David Price.
He was a young pup back then.
My memory's not all gone.
Chuck's is like baseball.
Is that the ball that we hit with a racket?
I was gonna say, is that the little green one that bounces on the clay?
No, that I would know.
Or turf?
That I would know because I actually played tennis, so I would know that one.
But yeah, all right. Getting back, I don't even remember where we were at.
Yeah, the Bill was just saying, maybe he didn't want to risk.
Oh right.
Yeah, I get the notion, and I understand it, and that thought process is legitimate. But to me, in the Super Bowl, you don't coach that way. You got here. Kyle, maybe not in the playoffs, but during the season, Kyle has shown faith in Jimmy G, that he would make passes when needed to. And I keep saying that, and people want to act like Jimmy G is some bottom third quarterback in the league. He's not. He's a solid quarterback, and so he has the ability to make some money passes. In the Super Bowl, you have to, when you're in a scenario like that, you have to be aggressive. You have to go for the kill. You have to, you can't be scared, because that's what it is. That would be coaching scared, because you're worried about turning the ball over. To me, you don't coach like that. And Nick Foles, I'm not saying they're the same, but Nick Foles going into the Super Bowl, people were questioning his skill. It's not like everyone knew he was going to light it up in the Super Bowl, but Doug showed faith in him and was like, I'm not going to hold back. I'm going to let Nick Foles sing. So
yeah, and again, taking
aggressive.
it a step further, this is the Super Bowl. This is a team against a team that can put up scores and points in bunches in a very short period of time. When you have the momentum like they had in the first half, you have all of your timeouts, and you have the ball coming out of the half.
You go for it. Yeah.
You have to there has to be some element and level of risk. We've seen it time and again with Doug. We've seen Bill take risk after risk after risk in Super Bowls. You can't coach scared and conservative in the Super Bowl. And that's exactly what he did. He fell, he bent down to the moment. He kneeled to the moment. And I think ultimately it came back to bite them, because you have an opportunity to put 3 or 7 or 8 on the board before the half against Pat Mahomes, the best quarterback in this league. And Andy Reid, one of the best head coaches in the history of this league, with all the playmakers that they have, the Sammy Watkins and Travis Kelce's,
Miko Hardman.
I mean, the list goes
Yep.
down. You need to pad that lead as much as possible. We've seen, too, from the Atlanta Falcons, no lead is safe in the Super Bowl
None.
or in any game in general, but
Yeah.
particularly in the Super Bowl. There is no lead that is safe.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this was a massively missed opportunity. If there's ever a time to take the risk, this was the time to do it, and they didn't do it.
Yeah.
He failed. But I totally understand where he's coming from with that. I just look at it like this is the Super Bowl against the best player in the league, hands down. You need to rise to that moment and put your neck out there and take a shot. Nobody will ever – if they went and they made a push to try to move down the field, there's nobody who's going to say you should have ran the ball out with all your timeouts in the last minute and 20 seconds. Like, it's just – that's not going to happen. We know that's not going to happen.
Yeah, I think people will say, but they're the dumb fans.
They're dummies.
Yeah.
Anyone with any sense in the game would understand that you're going against the Kansas City Chiefs.
You have to push it. Yeah.
And you just watched what they did to Tennessee, and you just watched how they piled on points after going behind big time to to the Texans.
Yeah.
So there's nobody with an ounce of sense who's going to question why would you be that aggressive with all of your timeouts and getting the ball in the next half at the end of the first half.
Yeah.
That's where if it's something that you look at and be like, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, that's one thing. To me, you were damned if you don't. Mm-hmm. That's it.
And it's not like there were some middle of the road offense that had no weapons. They have plenty of weapons.
Yeah, I mean,
they have plenty of weapons.
Debo ran up and down the field all night.
Debo's having and Kittle. I mean, it was a ticky-tack offensive pass interference call. I don't mind it being called, but I wouldn't have minded if it wasn't called. But that goes to show that Kittle could pull off a play like that. You of course have Emmanuel Sanders who goes without explanation. Like, they have weapons. It's not like they didn't have weapons to go down the field in an instant. So I agree. And then before we go to break, the other thing I wanted to say was I've been hearing a lot of things about people saying that Damian Williams should have gone MVP over Patrick Mahomes. And I get it. Damian Williams had some good plays, but the way I see it here, and me being a running back guy, if I say this, it's
with a heavy
Jets
heart.
Point. There are a lot of running backs that could have done what Damian Williams did there, and the plays that he made, I don't think they were the game deciding plays. Like, they weren't the absolute critical plays of the game. His touchdown at the end of the game was more of like the exclamation point. But to me, the game deciding plays and the plays where no other quarterback in the league could have made them except for maybe Russell Wilson and I don't know, maybe Carson Wentz and Deshaun Watson. But no other quarterback in the league outside of maybe those handful of guys could have done what Patrick Mahomes did. So to me, Patrick Mahomes absolutely was MVP. He made the crucial, critical plays and when the Chiefs were struggling on offense and like they couldn't he had no time in the pocket. How many times did Mahomes escape pressure and run for yards?
I mean, listen, he did it early with his feet and he ran in for a touchdown and then he did it with his arm later in the game. And I think Damian Williams had a very good game. What I think he did, to me, it wasn't an MVP caliber game.
Yeah.
He did what needed to be done, and he did it very well and efficiently to open up the passing game for them. Mm-hmm. And that's how this team operates when it comes to the running game up compared to the passing game. They're not Tennessee, who it's run the ball and pound the ball first and then let that create some opportunity with passing. This is a team that does enough of what it needs to do with the running game, and I do believe that Williams is enough, a talented enough back to be able to produce, enough plays to command the attention to open up the passing game, and I think that's more of what you saw. I agree with Chucks. I don't think he was a world breaker by any means in this game. He had his role. He had his assignment of what they wanted to do with him, and he did that efficiently.
Yeah.
But Chuck's is spot on. When you look at the one player on the field, offense or defense, that when you go back at the end of the game and you say, that's the guy who changed this game, it's Pat Mahomes.
Absolutely.
I don't think there's even a question. Over on the book, Bill said, Chucks, you're a film guy. Check out the bomb to Hill. The defensive end was in a chokehold, worst holding non-call ever. The one thing San Francisco talked to the refs about before the game, and they missed the biggest and most important one of the game.
Sounds like the Twins are the third team, by the way, Chrome.
Oh. Yo, I'll tell you what. That team is stacked. People don't know it because they're in Minnesota. You look at that lineup with Josh Donaldson now, and they have done enough with pitching, gone out and got guys like Rich. Man, that team is stacked. That's a huge. If that's where he's going, that is huge, because that's the one thing they could have used as one more piece for that rotation. That team might give a run to the Yankees. Watch out. Mark it down. I said it now.
A team giving a run at the Yankees. Jeez.
Well, the Yankees are probably the pretty clear-cut favorites, but Bill says one last thing on the Sox. They wrapped up JD, and yes, Mookie's great, but Price is being paid way too much. I think it's a good move for the Sox. This would have happened a week ago, but the Sox weren't budging unless Price went. I did read that. So, Ralph, let's talk some baseball. Ralph, we're not talking about Chris Bryant. I already know exactly what you want to talk about, Ralph. And I want to say this before we get back to football, Chuck. Sorry, I'm deterring.
No, go ahead.
deferring
Go
again. And you guys can hate me for saying this, but I'm going to say it. Chris Bryant stinks. Chris Bryant is exactly what you already have. He's Reese Hoskins. Oh, my God. What's the matter, Ryan?
Jock Peterson would go from Dodgers to Angels if Blockbuster is completed.
Damn.
Jock Peterson to the
4
Angels.
teams now? We're going to go back to that trade on the break because I want to look at the details of this. Well, I'm going to say this about Chris Bryant. First of all, the Yankees are in on Chris Bryant too. But Chris Bryant is a guy who I look at him and I see Adam Dunn 2.0, which is exactly what I see in Reese Hoskins. It is a guy who, when he gets a hold of one, can crush a ball 450 feet. But he's going to hit 217 every year, 215, 220, maybe 235 or 240 on a good year. And you already have that. I don't see Chris Bryant being much of a different player than what Reese Hoskins can be. And I think one Reese Hoskins is enough. So, call me a party pooper, but I know I'm not a Phillies fan, but I would like to see the Phillies do well, and I don't think Chris Bryant is your answer, guys. Not even close. Oh, Ryan is fiddling around.
Things are happening.
What are you getting somebody on the phone?
Things are happening.
No, my computer's dying. There's trades happening.
Ryan is
getting
going
texts,
crazy.
some calls.
Bill wants to talk about where is Brady going, but what time?
So
is
do
it?
I, Bill.
We'll
So
talk
do I.
We'll talk about the second half.
We have 5 minutes until the break. Take your time.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
So, well,
Get my bearings over
you
here.
want to jump in Brady now?
On Brady? I'm still
almost feel
going to
like we
say
should-
going to the Chargers,
Yeah.
but that's me.
Let's say we're gonna.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, you wanna
So
save
we're
it?
gonna, we're
That
gonna
goes
we're gonna
deep.
talk
Okay.
Brady on there because there's a lot of rumors out there. I mean, I know you. I did read your question, Bill, when we had to hop off of the Facebook to fix the audio issue real quick, but I did read your question earlier asking about the commercial and all. We will talk about that second half. I promise you.
If you want to go to break now, and then we'll come back.
Yeah,
Let's
I
do it.
mean, we already have it chopped up anyway.
Yeah,
So.
Yeah, things are happening.
All right, there's a lot going down. We're gonna take our break now, and we're gonna try to look at this trade that's happening, which is
Trades.
trades.
Hoskins might be on the friggin'. He might be in the XFL when we come back. You never know.
But yeah, when we come back, guys, we'll continue to talk Super Bowl if you want. I know we want to get into some Eagles and NFL offseason early conversation, as well as we're going to try to get the details on this trade, and we'll move from there. So again, first half brought to you by Specialized Physical Therapy. Find them on the web, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. Topic of conversation brought to you by ATS Sports Picks. A2D promo code gets you 20% off. A2D, ATS Sports Pick Singular.com. And as well as Ambuck Services, gutter cleaning service, 856-879-5530, or visit them on the web, ambuckservices.com. Me, Chucks, and Ryan will be back with you guys in a couple of minutes. Well, guys, we are back on Birds of a Feather, live from the Real Talk Studios on a2dradio.com. Breaking news. Obviously, we started talking on the other half, but literally since we went to break, which is kind of why we delayed a little bit more, stuff's just dropping.
What is happening?
I don't even understand, but this siren is so perfectly placed at this exact moment. It is a panic. This is really happening right now. We're going to get into it in 1 sec. We're going to try to dissect the details of this Mookie Betts deal. Reminder, we're brought to you by Specialized Physical Therapy, Dr. Paul Vidal. Find him on the web, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. Our topic of conversation, the Super Bowl did not disappoint. Agree, disagree. Brought to you by ATS Sports Picks. Promo code A2D gets you 20% off all your first-time purchases. March Madness coming up, guys. Great time to utilize that. ATSSportsPick.com. And again, by one of our more recent sponsors now, Ambuck Services, gutter cleaning, anything you need done, deck restoration, staining, deck installation, gutter cleaning and repair. There's a number of things, tree trimming. You can call them at 856-879-5530 or visit them at the web, ambuckservices.com. All right, we're getting back to football, but we need to figure this out first.
You want to give the fan basically everything that we know so far.
Well,
just
here's the best
through.
part, right? Tonight we're like, yeah, maybe we could go like an hour and a half on the show.
Yeah.
You don't have to go full 2. And then, like Chucks and Ryan said during the break, baseball said, here, hold my beer. You're not going. You're going 2 hours tonight. All right. So it began with Mookie Betts and David Price being traded from the Red Sox, but details were a little bit murky. It seemed like Price and Mookie were both being moved to the Dodgers. Excuse me, I'm getting puberty over this. But no. That's not how this is going down.
No.
And we are tracking a lot of insider Twitters right now, so we can try to get the details as they come along. So how it sounds, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ryan, because a lot of names have been added to this.
Yes, a lot.
So it sounds like Mookie Betts will be moving to the Dodgers.
Yes, correct.
It sounds like, and we don't know for sure if David Price still is or is not in this deal. Nightingale's out here saying that he is not, but everybody else still has him in the deal.
It's just a matter of what his end destination is going to be.
But it's sounding now, because then Jock Peterson's name was thrown in this, to be going to the Angels, was it?
Yes, if the Mookie Betts deal is completed.
Right. Now, this may not all be one trade. It could be a bunch of trades kind of piggybacking off of if this happens, then this happens, and this happens.
It's like a butterfly effect.
But right. So just to get the names right, it sounds like Mookie Betts to the Dodgers. We're sure of that.
Yes.
If that happens, it sounds like Jock Peterson goes from the Dodgers to the Angels.
Yes.
We don't know if David Price is going to the Twins, but it sounds like David Price is going to the Twins. And it sounds like now Kenta Maeda is going to the Twins as well.
For Gratterall, and I guess is he a one-year guy? Did we figure out who this Alex Verdugo is?
Alex Verdugo he has 1 year of service time. He hit 12 home runs last year, 44 RBIs, hit 294 in like 350 plus at bats, 340 something at bats.
And here's the thing we have to keep in mind too.
He's a young 23-year-old up and coming prospect who now has a year of service time.
It's Alex Verdugo and others to Boston.
Correct.
We don't know who else is going.
But now it sounds like, who was the pitcher again? The pitching prospect? Brewster. Gratterall. Sounds like he would also be going to Boston. As well as if David Price is moved, John Heyman's tweeting out that Boston would pick up more than half of the $96 million owed to him.
Oh my God! Hey Phils, how about you get on the phone and see what Chris Sale is worth, huh?
Well, at this point,
you want Chris Sale?
Let's just make it. Let's just put all. How about all the teams just put somebody out there and let's ship them all around?
I mean, this is what
it's essentially what it sounds like is happening.
Like, we're just sitting here, and I'm like, Jock Peterson! Like, we're just sitting.
And then we're on break, and then he's like, Kenta Maeda! What is happening? Chucks, this is baseball, by the way.
Baseball.
Just so
Gotcha.
you know.
And the Dodgers are just sitting there like, "Hey Yankees, how are you? You thought you were good, Yankees? How are you?"
And I will say this is a big win for the Dodgers. Their prize pitching prospect, Dustin May, who was believed to have needed to be in on a deal
He's
here,
just chilling.
is not a part of this deal. So that's a win for them that they get to hold on to their prize pitching prospect. Jesus.
Mary and Joseph.
And we don't even know if this is it.
And we don't even know what the Angels are giving up to get Jock.
We're like in a fog right now. We don't know what's on the other side of the fog.
We don't know.
Too soon.
I'll let you guys know if there's anything.
Rosk, I don't care about Nadia Comaneci.
Who?
Figure that out yourself. We're talking baseball right now.
I don't know
And
who
then we're
that
going to get
is.
into football in a minute.
I don't even know what that is.
But, guys, we will track this. We will try to give you more details as they fall through.
Seems like a pretty big deal.
This is a big deal. This is a very big deal.
And meanwhile, I got to post something, and I don't even know how to post it.
Big deals.
Things are happening.
Things are happening in
See
baseball.
Twitter.
See, Bob Nightingale's the only one
That's
that
saying
that
this.
Price wasn't moving. None of them have backed off of David Price being moved. Infielder Luis Rengifo is headed to the Los Angeles Dodgers in a deal for outfielder Jock Peterson.
Oh my God.
And
Hello.
Passan still has David Price moving.
Price
So-
is just floating around.
So it's sounding like Price and Kenta Maeda are going to the Minnesota Twins. Man, I'll just tell you this right now, though.
the Red
Okay.
Sox panicked.
No, I'm just saying, like, first of all, the Red Sox should have gotten Dustin May. That's a miss on their part. But that, even taking that out of the equation, very quietly, if you're not a big follower of Minnesota because they fly under the radar, I said it earlier and I'll say it again. When you look at adding Josh Donaldson to a lineup that is stacked, that led the major leagues in home runs last year, and then what did they need to do? They went out and got veteran pitchers like a Rich Hill. Oh, my God, Ryan's pounding the desk.
It was a separate deal.
But, I mean, to me, it's all one deal.
Yes, technically.
It's technically, on paper, it's a separate deal, but
This tells me, not to cut you off, this means something else is coming to me. Something else is coming.
well, I don't know. But, I mean, Mookie moving is a big deal.
Oh, yes.
And
Yes.
If Nolan Arenado is going to be moved, if Chris Bryant are going to be moved, those type of guys, it's weird because you would think that the Mookie Betts move would be what would kind of set somewhat of a standard for guys like that to kind of understand, okay, what kind of return are you looking at? But there's so many moving parts to this to dissect. It's very, very difficult. Anyway, huge deal. We're going to get back so we can get Chuck's talking again. We're going to get back to
No,
football.
take your time. If it's a big deal, it's a big deal. It's bigger than me. I get
Chuck's,
it.
everybody's bigger than you,
Yeah,
Chucks.
there you go.
Everybody's
There
bigger
you
than
go. I'll send you up. I was hoping someone would.
I mean, that didn't take a rocket scientist to figure that
It's
one
like
out.
everything is bursting into flames, and then meanwhile, in Philly's headquarters, it's just this. They're just chilling.
You know what, dude?
Hey.
I'd rather be the Phillies right now than to see what the Cardinals have done. They haven't added anything, so I'll take your offseason over mine. We bought Matt Wieters back to be our backup catcher.
You guys going to be fourth in your own division?
No, we still have a chance to win our division. But
Well, we
the
do.
Reds did a lot this year, though.
Yeah, I'm happy for him.
Reds did a lot in the offseason.
Real happy for him.
Side note,
Hello,
too,
fourth place. How are
another
you?
tweet that came out, by the way.
Oh, Jesus. Where's this guy going now?
Marcel Ozuna turned down a 3-year, $30 million deal, or might have been more, to take the 1-year, $18 million deal and bet on himself to go with Atlanta.
What?
Marcel Ozuna signed with the Braves for 1 year, $18 million. He actually had a 3-year deal on the table for $30 or $30+ million that he turned down to bet on himself this season to have a bounce back year with Atlanta and cash in again next year in free agency. That was another tweet that came out. So, I mean, it pales in comparison to the breaking news. But all right, Chucks.
What's up?
Tom Brady. A lot of chatter around Tom Terrific right now. I mean, we have seen countless teams. Some sound ridiculous, some don't. But, I mean, it sounds like a lot of teams are in on Tom this year. And obviously we know what the Patriots are offering, a $30 million contract to come back for a year. But we've heard the Chargers. We've heard Tampa. He put a tweet out that people then started freaking out about Miami. More recently, the Raiders have been thrown in, which I'll tell you what.
In Las Vegas.
Right. Would not shock me if the Raiders end up being a big player as this moves on.
I mean, we've heard that they
in the Tom Brady sweepstakes. And the appeal of going to Vegas now and kind of being that guy to get the Vegas era kicked off.
Yep.
And you know the Raiders, they'll throw money at somebody.
Yeah, in a capped sport.
Well, yeah.
They will throw money.
So, kind of taking it all down. Maybe there's teams that I've missed. But we're talking, let's throw all the teams back out. The Patriots, obviously. Miami was a team, which I don't think is realistic, obviously. But since it's been mentioned, we'll put them on the table.
Okay, so you said
Miami,
Miami.
Tampa,
okay.
Vegas. I have to get used to saying the Vegas Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
Vegas, the Chargers. Is there anybody else I'm missing here, guys?
Those are
Not
the
for
ones,
me.
Yeah,
That's everybody I've
There's
heard.
been 2 for me for a long time.
All right, so let me ask this question.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to play the role of Ryan here. Who do you think the 2 finalists are going to be? Where do you think he's going to go, but where do you think he should go?
The 2
3 parts.
that have been linked to, which would have been in my head ever since the summer, because I've been telling Kevin about this since before the season even started. It's the Buccaneers and it's the Raiders. Those are the 2 that I've been thinking about for the longest. I don't buy into the Colts. I don't buy into the Chargers. The Chargers make sense, but I don't buy into it because I think they're going younger. I think they go Herbert. Because I think they're done with the – like if he falls on their lap, it would be fine. I don't think they would lose sleep, but I think they would rather go more young, like a
Younger.
Herbert, for example.
Oh, I forgot. San Francisco was a name that was thrown out there as well.
Not
It
San
was.
Francisco, yeah.
it was.
And you're right. Bill's right. Bill says the most ridiculous one I heard was San Francisco. How? That makes no sense. What put Jimmy G back on the bench? Chargers make the most sense to me. Which, by the way, it would be extremely ironic, though. If Brady came and Jimmy Garoppolo was backing
Well, you
up
know
Brady,
what happened? No, you know
they
exactly
would
what
trade
happened.
him.
The Patriots would trade for him.
They
would come
right.
running for him.
But that being said, how ironic would that be, though?
It would be the funniest thing in the NFL.
But I actually
in a
agree
while.
I agree with you, Bill. To me, that is even more ridiculous than the Miami idea.
Now,
yeah, I don't know.
to,
That's not happening.
to your second part, where do I think he's going to go and where should he go? He should absolutely go to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Absolutely. For it's a handful of reasons. And people are like, Tom Brady to Tampa Bay? What?
And that's where you think he will go?
No, I think
Okay.
he will go to Vegas.
Okay.
Because I think they're going to fork out a ridiculous amount of money for him, and they have the capital to where they can get weapons for him.
Sure.
He should go to Tampa for this reason. Number one, because they can fork out a ton of money for him because they're moving on from Jameis.
Mm-hmm.
They shouldn't stay with Jameis. Two,
Oh, you think?
yeah, no, I know, Chucks. I don't think I know. Two, because they already have Mike Evans, O.J. Howard, Chris Godwin. You have a running game that could easily improve because they can go after a Jordan Howard, a Melvin Gordon. There's a lot of options on the market. Even freaking Kareem Hunt if he's, if he
If he stays out of trouble
if he's
for
available.
a second.
You know what I'm saying? If he's available. Le'Veon Bell, because apparently, if they trade him, there's a lot of options at running back. Their defense isn't bad. They have weapons. Their offensive line is getting better. Veteran head coach. And just look at that division, for example. The Panthers are rebuilding. The Falcons are a team with a lot of weapons, but they have drastically – I mean, they've been awful the last 2 years.
Underachieved, yeah.
And the Saints have a very, very, very small window with Drew Brees. Very small.
Sounds like 1 year.
Yes. And then they're
there was a
moving on to
report-
Taysom Hill.
Right. The report that came out around the Super Bowl, we were here the other night, was that Drew Brees, they would like, and it sounds like he will come back for one more year.
Yep.
To bridge to Taysom Hill.
So I'm looking at a situation where Tom Brady still wants to win, still wants to prove that, the storyline that we've always talked about, can he win without Bill Belichick? If he landed on Tampa with all those weapons, with the veteran head coach in a division that is very much up for grabs right now, and there is not any clear-cut winner, like right now I guess it's the Saints, based off of recent success, but that recent success is eliminated in the playoffs. They're not Super Bowl champions. You know what I'm saying? They've been impressive in the regular season, and then they've completely dipped in the playoffs. If you go to the Raiders, sure, you get a lot of money. Sure, you have the ability to get some weapons this offseason, but you're facing Mahomes twice a year.
Yeah.
You're facing a Broncos team that their defense is getting better, and there's a young, interesting quarterback, Drew Lock, that he looks interesting. I'm not going to say he's great. I'm not even going to say he's good, but he looks interesting.
Worth a shot.
Yeah, and then depending on what the Chargers do, we don't know who their quarterback is right now, but they have weapons. That's a way more difficult division than what you have down in. I mean, I could argue that the NFC South is the NFC version of the AFC East.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think it makes way too much sense for Tampa Bay. That's why I've been talking about it since August. If I'm Brady, I'm going down there. You have the warm climate. You hear Giselle wants to go to Miami. Go a little bit, a couple hours away. Go to Tampa. Go to Tampa, not Miami. You have a quick car drive away from there.
By the way, I was just in Tampa a couple weekends ago.
There you go. It's perfect.
That's a nice city.
Yeah, come on, Giselle.
It's a nice city. I'm not gonna lie. It's clean. It's modern. It's It's good weather, obviously.
Yeah, it's beautiful in Tampa.
Yeah.
You're playing in a dome twice with the New Orleans Saints, twice in a dome with the Atlanta Falcons. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Who wants to retire in friggin' in Indianapolis or
Right.
Denver?
And, I mean,
you know what I'm
listen,
saying?
I'm sure he's tired of playing in cold
weather.
weather all the time.
Yeah.
Get in those domes, getting that warm weather down in South, baby. You're good to go.
I know he likes to play golf. Go to Tampa. Come on.
Chucks.
Yeah, okay, so the top two contenders thing, that was the first question. I think Raiders are going to be there because the report was at the Raiders, so that has to be on there. I think the other one's going to be Tampa. Where I think he's going to go is, I think I'm on with you, Ryan. I think where he is going to go is the Raiders because they're going to just aggressively pursue him. But I think now, if you asked me weeks ago, I would have said Chargers, because I just feel like they're in terms of all of these teams we're talking about, I think they are the best in terms of roster talent, and I'm not factoring in the division they're in. I'm just looking at just their roster and their team. I think they have the most talent on both sides of the ball than anyone. I think they are only like a piece or two away from being a Super Bowl contender. But everything Ryan just said it does really make too much sense, and I think that the road is absolutely easier. And plus, you add in the fact that he'd be out of the AFC, he wouldn't have to play against his own team unless do the AFC East and NFC South play each other next year. I don't think they do, but he would have to play his old team unless if they go to the Super Bowl. Do you remember if they do?
2 years. 2 years from now, because I
Okay.
believe the Panthers beat the Patriots early in the season the year we won the Super Bowl.
Okay, all right, that's good. Yeah, so he wouldn't have to play them next year. So I just think it makes too much sense, like Brodo said, and he could do wonders there. I mean, like they only need a stable and consistent quarterback play. Like what you got from Jameis is not going to cut it. Obviously, 33 interceptions, 33 touchdowns. It's way too much turnover.
I'd like to see that pairing with him and Arians. So.
Aaron's a good coach.
I'd love to see that pairing with
Exactly.
Tom and him.
Yeah, they have I mean, Arians obviously is a quarterback whisperer. He doesn't have to develop Tom. That goes without saying. But with in terms of philosophies and everything, I feel like they fit well together. So I like that fit a lot. And Chris Godwin's one of my favorite wide receivers. So I would like to see him.
Yeah.
I would like to see an actual good quarterback throw him the damn ball. So.
Screw him. I want to see somebody finally throw the football to O.J. Howard.
O.J. Howard, yeah.
So Bill says, let me ask you one simple question. What team could he go to and win next year? He's not playing to play. He's playing for a Super Bowl.
Well, I mean, in my judgment, I'm looking at it that way. I mean, I believe it's going to come down to the Patriots and the Raiders, and I think that it's going to end up being the Raiders. I have two that I think he should go to. I'm leaning more towards Tampa, the amount of weapons, and I think that he could win next year with that team.
If Tampa Bay lands on Tampa, if Tom Brady lands on Tampa, I would with this roster before the draft, I would say they are my early dark horse to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I'm instantly putting them as a division winner.
And I wouldn't even say a dark horse. I'd say more of like a little bit of a slight shadow over top.
Yeah.
But
Partly cloudy.
Yep.
They're my partly cloudy contender for the
Super
Super
Bowl.
Bowl. I'm using that tomorrow. I'm using that.
And then again, I'm judging by who I think that he could win with almost immediately. I mean, to me, the Chargers make a lot of sense too. I know they're going younger, but there's a lot of weapons on that team. And I believe that team could be built to win. And again, I expected a lot more this year. Obviously, Phillip Rivers, to me, looks like it's hitting the end of the road pretty soon.
Oh, it has. In terms of,
he had a decent year the year before, though.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I feel like the talent level is going to fall off the table real fast with him, and it's already started this year.
It started to, yeah. We talked about it.
The decline.
Brodo, was it me, you, and Kevin when it was us three? Like, we Kevin, again, evaluation of quarterbacks is starting to be spotty. I think we
starting.
He was like he considered Rivers still like one of the better QBs, and we went.
He said he was elite.
Yeah,
elite.
He was elite. He went through.
That's
all
why
the quarterbacks
that's
in the league
this week.
Has he won more than a playoff game ever?
No,
That's why he's received his 1 week
Nice.
suspension from
Yes.
Birds of a
People
Feather
talk
Broke
about
Bread.
Wentz. This guy's been in the
God.
league for 50 years.
No, yeah,
he's got
he's-
one playoff
No,
win.
but Chrome was right.
That's
like,
the two teams I see him.
Chrome is right. Rivers was good last year, but this year he's fallen off. So like hard.
The ball rolled off the end of the table real quick. With him.
Yeah.
There was a very, very steep fall off for Phillip Rivers.
I think that the end of the table collapsed.
I mean,
like
listen,
immediately.
He's falling and he can't get up.
By no means did I expect for him to step in and be an elite quarterback this year, but with enough talent around there, I really thought that they could have done a lot more than they did. And I
Yes.
Tom is one of those guys. He's a freak of nature.
There are reports Rivers might be Wentz's backup, according to Bill.
I have not heard that whatsoever.
No.
Wait, who?
I don't see
Rivers being Wentz's backup.
No,
You
no.
probably heard Flacco, Bill. I heard
No.
Flacco.
I see. I could see that. I do not see Phillip Rivers taking a backup job at this point.
well, then let's play a game.
Not yet.
Let's play a game. All right, let me go to this.
Somebody will roll the dice and they will bring in Phillip Rivers. Might be the Bengals. Who knows? But
No.
I'm just throwing out a
know.
random crappy team.
So
but
let's go team by team. And listen, I know, ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't already know, now you know. This is just a rough estimate. This is gut feeling, way too early, okay? The teams
Way
that are
early.
in question, the way too early quarterback 2020 roster predictions. We go to each team that are in question for who their quarterback is, and we just say who it is.
Yeah.
And when it gets fuzzy, if you just want to say a draft guy, you can just say a draft guy. Patriots.
For Rivers?
No. Like who? If you had to put money on it, gun to your head, who's the starting quarterback of the Patriots next year?
God.
I don't know.
This is why the game's fun, because
I could
it's
see them outsourcing and bringing somebody in.
This is basically day 2 of the offseason. 2020. This is day 2.
Ryan Mallett.
God.
Andy Dalton.
I don't.
Yeah.
No,
I don't see that.
I don't know. It's tough. Who are the free agent quarterbacks?
Teddy Bridgewater. I could see that.
I could see Teddy
can see
there.
Teddy.
Teddy would that'd be a
Actually,
good
I'll
spot
go
for
Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah, I can see Teddy.
Yeah, Teddy Bridgewater.
Obviously, Bills we know, Jets we know, Dolphins, Fitzpatrick, I would say.
Fitzmagic. That's sweet.
You agree?
That's sweet, man.
To start, yeah, it's going to be Fitzpatrick.
Do you
I
think Tua's there?
Yeah. Pretty sure Tua's
I
the
hope
guy.
he's not. I hope not.
Why? I'm curious. As to why.
I think that they should spend this year with Fitzpatrick and Rosen, figure out if Rosen is anything.
I think here's the thing with that. I think they already made their decision.
Then I tried to train him this year. I tried.
Then
I would call the Patriots because I know the Patriots tried getting Rosen.
Oh yes, Rosen. But then the Dolphins would the Dolphins trade Rosen to a division rival?
Yes,
Yes.
if he stinks,
Yes.
yes. If you say they already made the decision,
Yeah.
yes.
But then they might know that if the Patriots want him that bad, like
Well, they're taking their chances. If
Yeah.
you're trading them,
No,
then you're
I
taking
get-
their-
I'm
then
just-
you
I'm
think
going-
it's a lost cause.
I'm going through
I
the
mean,
thought
my-
process. I don't.
No,
Yeah.
I don't think that deters them at all from trading him there. If they make their decision, he's not going to be the guy in Miami.
Then they'll trade him.
They'll
just to
roll
get-
the dice. and let him go
If
there.
the Pats said if you're the Dolphins, the Pats said, hey, I'll give you a 5th-round pick for him. You're not taking that?
I'll drive him there.
in the
know what I'm
circumstance, in the circumstance where if I don't believe that he's the guy, then yeah.
I'll drive him there.
Yeah.
But I think the Dolphins should take this year, figure out if they still have Version, figure out what he is. They have no pressure to win this year, especially after the end of last season. It was like they
Yeah.
won a freaking Super Bowl, dethroning the Patriots. And I think they should draft Lawrence. I think they should figure out their core, figure out who is their identity on their weapons, and then get Lawrence. That's truly what I think they should
I
do.
think they're gonna go for Tua.
Chiefs, obviously we know. Oh, who's the Chiefs quarterback? I wonder who.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh, that's right. He's better. Yeah, they should do that. The Broncos, we know. The Chargers.
Well, it's not gonna be their backup.
See, I've been saying it. I've been saying a name for a long time, but now there's reports that are conflicting with it.
I think it's gonna be
I think
what's
it's-
their pick? What draft pick
It's
do
like
they have?
7, I think.
Oh, really? Top 10? Yeah, it's gonna be Herbert or one of the
It's either
quarterbacks.
gonna be Herbert or I'll give you another name.
Who?
Cam Newton.
Okay.
If they let him go,
That'd be
if they
great.
let him go,
Okay.
Be an interesting spot for him to
it's
land.
great
too.
branding for a team that needs
Yeah.
people to buy tickets.
Mm, I can see that.
Cam in LA, you tell me that's a
Yes,
star
I
who's
can
born
see
right
that.
there.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's if the Panthers let him go. 'Cause
Good
I
one.
know they're not sure.
They should. I think it's time for them.
Raiders.
I could see Teddy Bridgewater going to the Chargers as well.
Yeah, that makes sense too.
A chance for him to start and go with a team that's pretty well built, and I think a guy who's got a chance to really revive his career even more. I could see Bridgewater landing there.
Yeah. This is tough because I don't know who the free agent quarterbacks are.
I'm about to blow your mind
Okay.
for the Raiders. You can go first, though, bro.
Tom
Yeah,
Brady
Yeah.
is my guy.
Ready for me to blow your mind?
Go ahead.
The starting quarterback is Derek Carr, but they will have Tua Tagovailoa.
You think they'll go for Tua?
Yes, Tua to Vegas.
Okay.
It's interesting.
Okay.
They're in the position to trade up if they need to.
They are. They have a lot of capital at this point.
Tell me that wouldn't be fun.
That would be fun.
Second year of Vegas,
Yeah.
Vegas Tua.
Yeah.
Tell me that wouldn't be fun. Him and Jacobs in the same offense.
Yeah.
Christ, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Come on
That
now.
would be- yeah,
Come
that would be
on
fun.
now. I want that, man. I might if that happens, I might go to a game out there.
I'd love to
You
see.
should regardless.
True, yeah, I'm gonna do it anyway.
Oh, I just want to hear John Gruden rant and rave about him. And
Tua?
Yeah.
I can you could hear him going through that.
I always think about with quarterbacks too, and I think of John Gruden. I think about like when RG3 got drafted in those couple years where he would do these like in the classroom with the quarterbacks, and he'd have them like draw up these plays and break
Yeah.
them down.
Yeah.
And just with the John Gruden way of talking and this, and,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
just
Yeah. You
could
remember the
see
one he did
him
with
ranting
Wentz?
and raving about Tua.
Yeah. I still remember the one with Wentz. We had the
David
the
Price
QB,
is
yeah.
officially staying with the Dodgers.
All right. Well, so Kenta Maeda is the guy then. For now, they'll move Price if they can.
Next team. Sorry, I'm just updating this thing. Next team, Ravens. We know. Steelers.
Ben. I think Ben comes
Yeah,
up one more year.
it'll be Ben one more year.
Brownies
Baker Mayfield.
Baker.
and Bengals. Burrow. Joe
Yeah,
Burrow.
Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I guess.
Joe Burrow.
Sent some
Indecisiveness.
I don't know. I could see them just going out
Screwing it
and grabbing
up?
somebody. I guess. I don't know. It's the Bengals. I don't have any faith in that team.
There was a report from someone who was a former Bengal coach or on the staff
Like if, go ahead.
that said from his sources that they are also looking at Herbert. I think was it Herbert?
See, I could see them
They're
draft.
looking at her.
I could see them drafting a quarterback, but I could also see them if Tom Brady goes to Vegas trading for Derek Carr.
Oh,
Okay.
hello,
I like
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Texans. We know.
Deshaun Watson. Yeah.
Here's where we get interesting. Titans.
Ryan Tannehill.
You
I
think they're
think-
gonna?
I
You think
think
they're
they're
gonna pay
gonna-
him? You think they'll pay
I
him?
think they're gonna pay him.
Yeah.
No,
I think-
Chuck, sir.
What's up?
You think they're paying Derrick Henry?
The more I think about it,
They have to. They have to, right?
the more I think about it, I think there's a chance that they don't. I think there's a chance that they don't.
No.
I'm not guaranteeing anything. But we all assumed that the Cowboys are going to re-sign DeMarco Murray. And the fact that they rode this guy through a playoff run and they had to decide between Ryan Tannehill, like maybe they can do both. Again, I'm not guaranteeing anything, but like the fact that they had to pay Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry, I would not be shocked if they don't sign Derrick Henry. I would not be shocked. I think there's a chance.
Well, I'll tell you what. If Derrick Henry hits the
The
market,
market.
hey Tampa,
If you get Tom Brady, if you could you imagine? See,
See, you're going to Tampa. I'm looking at because you bring up Tennessee. I could see Mariota getting traded to Tampa
well, he wouldn't be traded. He's a free
or
agent.
free.
That's-
but I could see.
Can
him
you
getting away to
imagine
Tampa.
the 1 and 2 at quarterback with the draft?
The
They go from
2015
Winston-
draft class, your Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
But-
oh my God!
I could see if it's there with Marcus Mariota. Bruce Arians could be the guy to get it out of him.
Can he keep him on the field for more than 12 games?
That I can't
That's
guarantee
the
you.
thing.
yeah.
That I
Yeah.
can't
I mean, I'm a
tell.
Mariota guy, but no, I don't.
See,
I
I'm
don't
not
know
a Mariota guy. I'm not a believer. I never
Not
have
anymore,
been.
yeah,
and,
not-
the
me
greatest
not
thing
anymore.
that Chip Kelly ever did for the Philadelphia Eagles was not
trading
trade for Marcus
up.
Yeah, how
Mariota.
about that?
Not trading
But-
up.
I'd be fine with
I-
Mariota being the backup quarterback for the Eagles.
I would be okay with it.
I'd be fine with that.
I'd take him as a backup.
Yeah,
I don't
I'd
think
be
he's
okay
a
with
starter.
No.
But if there's anyone in this league who's going to be able to bring the best out of this guy with the talent around him, it's in Tampa with Bruce Arians.
He's
But
one
could
of
you
them.
imagine Tommy Boy, Derrick Henry, O.J. Howard, Godwin,
Evans.
Bruce Arians?
And then Ronald Jones, who actually was
Yeah.
playing well, the complimentary to Henry.
See, my thing with Mariota, by the way, I am not a Mariota guy, but there's enough teams in this league that I believe will give this guy a starting
Because
spot.
he was number 2
It
quarterback
might
pick.
be the Bengals.
I've heard rumblings
It
about something.
might be if Ben decides not to play, it could be the Steelers. There's a number of spots that I could see teams, experienced coaches bringing him in.
Go north. I've heard rumblings.
Don't tell me the
Who's up
Patriots.
No. But that would be something. Wouldn't it?
Oh my
That'd be something.
or
Billy
God,
Belichick
Bill-
with
Oh my
Marcus
Bill and
Mariota.
Mariota. Oh my!
You might
God.
need to sign Dalton just so he's ready to go after week 10.
What are you hearing?
This is gonna upset you.
What?
I've heard rumblings about Chicago
Well, then
bringing him in as a complimentary to Trubisky,
So-
trying to do what they do with the Saints.
Oh, like
the
a Taysom Hill.
yes, multiple quarterback
yeah,
offense.
I mean, whatever. I mean, just trade Mitch to Bill then, and let Bill make Mitch a freaking Hall of Fame quarterback.
Bill would retire on the spot.
let
Oh,
Mitchie,
this is the NFL that hey, in 2020 I'm going.
listen.
I'm going to the Giants
Let Bill back the train up behind Mitchie Poo
and go 6-10.
and position him in his rightful spot in Camden in 15 years.
Yeah, can for the XFL. All right, so then we go to the NFC. See, I love this time of year because we can get cute with all these scenarios.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
Yes. Eagles. Oh, I wonder who the Eagles quarterback will. Is it Nick Foles?
You
oh,
never know.
Oh wait, no. I'm sorry. I forgot. I forgot a couple teams. Colts.
It's Jacoby Brissett.
Phillip Rivers.
He's gonna go.
Bridge.
Maybe. I mean, I
Maybe.
could see him landing there.
I'm interested to see if, because the big thing with the Chargers fans was, Phillips go with a good offensive line. Who has a good offensive line? Indy.
Who has the best offensive line? Yeah.
One of them, yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of a bridge, see what they're doing.
I wouldn't be shocked.
Maybe if they were a bridge, maybe they'll hope that Andrew Luck's back in a year.
Well, yeah. Wouldn't shock me.
They'll say, hey, Andrew, we've had Jacoby and Phillip. Jacoby and Phillip, you want to come back?
You have a nice break. You had a nice break.
And finally, Jacksonville.
Minshew.
Yeah, it's gonna be Gardner.
They're gonna give him a whole offseason.
Where's Nick going to be? New
I'll-
England?
Can they
No,
get
he's
rid of
gonna
him?
be in Jacksonville. I don't think they're gonna be able
Backup.
to move.
New England?
It's an expensive backup, but
I don't
have a
see him
choice.
there because I don't. That contract's so bad.
It's
I don't.
really
I
bad.
don't see them able to
But
move
Bill
that. Contract.
doesn't forget. Bill might sign Eli Manning, bring him out of retirement, and Nick Foles.
Both
The
of them.
redemption tour. The redemption tour.
And he's gonna run it like the
Oh
Saints with
my
a two
God,
quarterback
two-quarterback
set.
system.
And you know what their mantra will be? It won't be no days off. It'll be, if you can't beat them, join them.
He's gonna do 2 QB sets. Can you imagine? They're not even gonna be running. They're just gonna be like passing the ball.
One's going to be in a friggin' wheelchair. The other one's going to be in a wheelchair because he's going to been hurt by week 3.
Oh my lord!
Sorry, Nick, but you're hurt a lot, Nick. It's okay.
God.
I could say it.
I almost want it. Can I just? Could someone make a GoFundMe?
I might buy Madden now just to make
Just
it
to
happen.
make it happen.
Ralph, get on the Madden, Ralph.
Oh
Make it
my
happen.
Ralph,
God.
make it happen on Madden.
It's right there. Video games are right there.
Simulate the season and let
Oh
us know
my
how it
God.
turns out.
Yo, if
here's
that
the
would
thing.
if that would happen, Nick Foles to the Patriots, how many Eagles fans would turn on him or so quickly, or even
I've-
become Patriots fans?
I, for example, would be very excited for Nick Foles.
He might have a chance to get back. You never know.
Yeah. That's too
That
much.
would really be the end of the dynasty.
That's
coming
too
down.
much. That's too much.
Hell would freeze over.
Oh my God, it'd be over.
Eli and Foles.
Patriots fans would be rioting.
How many New England specials are we gonna run? Over under?
I don't know. Neither of them are going to be available. But, well, no, Eli doesn't get hurt. He just stinks. So he'll be there.
Oh my God, Giants fans too.
He just
oh my
falls
God.
on the ground. That'll be the Eli. That'll be the New England special. Eli just hitting the
Just
deck
falls.
because
Bill's
their
like,
offensive line stinks now.
Yeah. Bill will be like, you got out of that sack and threw the helmet catch thing. Why can't you do it now?
No, you watch by week 1 because he's a Patriot. He'll be coming in week 1. I proclaim that Eli Manning is better than Patrick Mahomes.
Bill had a quick question.
Yeah.
We'll just answer it and then we'll move to the next team. If
Yeah.
you guys had a choice of any of these three to bring here, who would it be? OBJ, Amari Cooper, or Mike Evans?
Mike Evans.
Mike Evans.
Yeah, I think
Easy. I don't touch Amari Cooper. OBJ is that like, I'll try and get cute.
See,
That's
the
like my
talent is-
T.O. type thing.
Yeah, the talent is there, but I don't know if I'd want to deal with the headache.
I don't touch Amari
To me,
Cooper.
Mike Evans is the best of all around. And Amari Cooper, I love Amari Cooper.
I don't touch him.
But I'm just not confident
Nope.
that what we've seen.
I think OBJ is to me is the most talented out of all three of them, but he does come with risk, obviously because of the attitude.
The most risk-free and high ceiling.
Risk free, like
highest
Mike
ceiling
Evans.
To me is Mike
There's
Evans.
no risk with him, and he's big bodied, deep threat. Like
All right, next
Yeah.
team.
Cowboys, we all think Dak's staying. Giants, we know. Redskins,
we know.
Haskins. 49ers, this is Brady. Stephen A. or Skip,
like
whoever the
how-
hell said that.
Is this murder?
Seahawks, we know. Rams.
It's golf.
It's going to be Jack.
They
And I
paid.
love it because
They
they're
paid him.
because they're stuck.
They're stuck.
They're stuck.
And Cardinals, the offensive
Kyler.
rookie of the year,
Kyler
Mr.
Murray.
Kyler Murray. Packers.
Which on the chat and
Yeah,
on
somebody
the
was
two,
upset. Somebody was very upset.
Eagles Champs 1 said Miles Sanders got snubbed over Kyler Murray. No one likes us. We don't care.
It's a quarterback award. Packers.
Kyler had the bet.
We know.
Packers, yeah.
Kirk Cousins, Vikings, Bears, we talked about. And then anyone think Stafford's leaving Detroit?
No.
Saints, Breeze, Falcons,
Matt
Matt
Ryan.
Ryan,
Panthers.
Kyle Allen.
Yeah.
Kyle Allen.
I think they'll give him a shot. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Like
think
week
that-
1, they'll give him the shot.
I think he's going to start
They
the
might
season.
bring in like someone else. You know, like
Could-
to, as, you know to
Could Mariota end up there?
I don't know. I think this could be
If he doesn't get a starting job, I could see him ending up there.
because my scenario is Cam going to I almost call him San Diego. God,
It's tough.
L.A. There'll always be San Diego for me because nobody goes to the L.A. games.
Where do the
Yeah.
Panthers pick?
Oh no, I think they're 7. They're definitely top 10.
Hold on,
They're
give me
definitely
1
top
second.
10. They're either 8 or 6 or 7 or something.
Hold on.
They could be Justin Herbert. That could be Herbert.
They
I
could
don't
be
know
a
if he's
rookie.
starting day
Because
one.
remember they
Teddy Bridgewater, maybe.
who's the coach they hired? Matt Rule.
Yeah, and then Joe
He's gonna
Brady's
want a
the
guy.
OC.
He's gonna want a guy.
Yeah,
He's gonna want a guy. So I think his own guy. So I think it could be, could end up being a rookie.
but this is why this game's so fun because when do we have an off season where there's so much projected turnover?
Yeah.
There hasn't been since the last time there was this much turnover or anything close, and it's not this. This is way more. Was the off season where we didn't know if Tony? It was the 2016-17 off season where Tony wasn't retired yet. Jimmy Garoppolo, we didn't know where he was going.
Yeah.
There was a bunch of guys.
Well, I think what makes it so fascinating, too, is the number of guys who were sure, like they were such staples of organizations that are so question marked this year. The Phillip Rivers, the Tom Brady's, the Cam Newtons. Andy Dalton is now going to be on the move. Mariota's pretty much removed from his spot, so he's likely to be moving somewhere. Jameis Winston, nobody's mentioned where he's going yet. I mean, there's so many guys. What?
Could that be the Patriots?
Jameis Winston?
No.
No. I don't think.
I don't
Belichick-
even think Belichick dips in.
Am I wrong for thinking that if Tom – this is why I want Brady to leave so bad. Because the Patriots would be the most fascinating organization of
It
football
would.
this offseason. And we
I'll
never
give it.
say that. They're the
Yeah.
most boring this time of year because we're like, oh, they're –
It would. Well, you don't know the identity of the team.
And it's the first time ever, really, in years of the Brady era.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the Drew Bledsoe years.
Yeah.
Like I watched vividly because I was around when I was a real Miami fan too, and like watching a lot of them. So I remember those years, but that is so far removed at this point that you knew exactly the identity of the Patriots for the last 20 years, to where you're talking about 20 years later, and just from the words of "I'm testing free agency" from that quarterback, could be the most fascinating sports story of 2020.
It
To
would be
see
one-
how that team is and
It
the
would-
identity they become.
Because, like you say, 20 years, I'm 23. It would arguably be one of the craziest and most fascinating football stories of my life.
Yeah,
You're a baby.
Thank you.
23 years old.
you said that. Chuck's went. Like he doesn't notice, but just to hear it,
Just a reminder.
he's like a reminder
So
of
when
how
I-
old I am.
So when I said that, this is what this is what went off in your head? Old alert! Old alert! Old alert!
He's straight. Like before you, as soon as you said, he went.
Bill has a question too. I love
What's up,
these
Bill?
questions, Bill.
Yeah.
He says, even better question. If this was for $1 million, if you guys are right, where does Phillip Rivers play?
If I'm betting $1 million, the Colts,
Colts.
is the team I would say.
Yeah.
If it's not the Colts, though, where would you place your head? Where would you hedge your bet?
Tampa.
Who needs a bridge?
Tampa.
My own question is actually very tough for me. I don't think it would be. I don't think it would end up in Tampa. I don't see them going older. I would see them going on for a Mariota over a Phillip Rivers.
I think the three most logical
So difficult.
quarterbacks for Tampa, and again, who would have thought Tampa would be like so fascinating? Is Brady 1, Rivers 2, Bridgewater 3. I think those three make the most sense.
Could you see Rivers in New England?
No. Because I would question their mentality, because if you're not willing to pay, and obviously you don't have to pay Rivers as much as Brady, but if you're not willing to pay the better old guy
Yeah.
that's been there and is more sustainable and doesn't make mistakes, why would you pay anything for?
But that's the thing. They're willing to pay the old guy. If he's willing to take a deal to go elsewhere, though,
I think weapons are a big thing with them. Like, listen, if Brady comes back, that team's going to be scary because that means they're going out and actually making moves. Like, that tells me they're going after OBJ or AJ Green.
Right.
They're trying to trade with Tampa again, even though it didn't work the first 3 times. Like, if you hear, say tomorrow or whenever it can happen, you hear Tom Brady re-signing with the Patriots. I'm ultimately assuming 3-4 moves are happening directly after. There has to be a whole plan.
I'm going to throw another team in there.
Yeah.
Josh Rosen gets moved, and he ends up in Miami with Fitzpatrick. And Fitzpatrick is not the starting quarterback. Phillip Rivers would be the starting quarterback.
Okay.
I could see that to sell some tickets this year and bridge. Even if they draft Tua, I could still see Tua being
He's like the
number 3 for the year and learn behind those 2 guys.
because
Tua
is coming off of that injury.
See, I think that's counterintuitive because I don't know why.
I don't know that there's anything counterintuitive for Miami at this point.
I do
for this year.
I do because they're the one team that has. I'm telling you, they have no pressure to win next year. Fitzpatrick is a freaking god down there for what he did.
I know.
Like what he did in one game.
You know I love Fitz.
I
I
know.
loved him before he went to Miami.
I love him.
And what he did this year.
I'm scared to death of the guy because he tortures us every time
Yeah,
he
I
plays
know.
us. I love him.
God.
They have no pressure. If they say, okay, we're going Fitzpatrick and we're figuring out if Rosen's the deal, if he can play.
I don't think Rosen's going to be on that roster by the start
Yeah,
of the
I
year.
really.
And that's very well
Yeah.
could be the case. If they know that, every Dolphins fan is thinking we're tanking for Trevor. We're tanking for Trevor Lawrence. It doesn't matter who they get a quarterback. If they got Tom Brady, they don't have a chance to win that division next year unless you got a Kareem Hunt and an AJ Green and you get Gronk to come out of retirement.
Right.
You need 6 things. Like, they're not a quarterback away. I think if they take this year, make some trades, they have a lot of draft capital.
build
They
the
have a
team.
lot of draft picks. Spend some money, and then go after the quarterback. That way your quarterback of the future arrives with a legitimate roster. I think that'd be way smarter.
The only tricky thing to that, and it's what makes it tanking or doing that in football very tricky is like it's hard to tank in football. Like they tried to tank this year. You saw that went out. If they draft a bunch of young guys, young rookies with Ryan Fitzpatrick, and these draft picks become really, really good, they could still win like 5-6 games.
Not only did they
Like,
fail at
so-
tanking this year, they got better when they traded all of their
All their
assets
stuff.
away.
They did a good job, so I could see them. I could actually see them being like a middle of the road team next year.
Can I just say,
With
though,
a lot of good young talent.
what that tells me, though, to move all those assets and be able to play the way that they did, there's a pretty decent system forming there in terms
With the coach? Oh,
with,
yeah.
with Flores.
Yeah, absolutely.
That
absolutely.
if they can get the right personnel, that team in 2 or 3 years
It's
could
gonna
be
be
a
good.
real force in
It's gonna
the
be good.
East.
Crump, to really piggyback on your point of not only tanking, this is what they did this year, okay? This was a team where before the season, before they even got blown out, 42-3 by the Ravens week 1, and we were thinking, 0-16, they're not going to win a game. Except for you, you thought they were going 10-6. I have to put that on notice.
But they did beat the Eagles.
Yes.
Which I called.
Well, you did.
And I
we
called that they
feared-
would end the Patriots season, which they indirectly did.
They not only weren't an embarrassment, they didn't tank. They embarrassed, at the time, the 2 most recent Super Bowl champions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Patriots and the Eagles.
Yep.
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
I know.
It's any given week.
And side note,
Any
quarterback.
given week.
Side note, quarterback wise,
Bill's trying to steal your thunder.
I love it, Bill. I'm
What do you
in.
say?
Miami is going 10-6 in the
I'm in.
playoffs next year. Let's
I'm
go.
in. Side note, I do believe this will be the Ryan Fitzpatrick farewell tour.
Retirement?
Could
I
be.
believe that
His
he will
last
retire
last
after
season?
this season.
How old is he?
Old.
He's old, man.
Very old.
Old like
He's
Tom
in-
Brady?
He's in
old?
like his late 30s.
Well, that's
mid-
like young
mid or
compared to
late-
some of these guys.
Yeah,
now.
but
Yeah.
but not a lot of them hang like that. I mean, for
And
a
he
guy
play-
at
yeah,
his
he's
a guy at
physical.
his skill level,
Yeah, a lot more wear and tear.
Yeah, the way he plays.
A lot more injury.
What the last thing I'll say about the Miami thing is, like, if they could go for Trevor Lawrence by tanking again, like if it's possible, I would, because not only like do you get to build a better team for this year and then have him come to a better situation, I do think Trevor Lawrence is better than any quarterback in this draft class, even better than Joe Burrow. I think the physical talent for Trevor Lawrence is just by watching, and this is me just by watching one game. I could be off, but watching one game, I think Trevor Lawrence is like a lot better than any of these other quarterbacks.
He's the most NFL ready quarterback since Andrew Luck.
Yeah, like and Joe Burrow, it was great, like best collegiate season ever. But like in terms of physical talent, he's not the most physically talented quarterback to come across. So
Before we hop off, how many teams you got left on there? Just run through them real quick.
That's it.
Oh, all right. We're good
went
then.
through all of them. Yeah,
All right. Well, guys, great show this week.
old school.
It was old school.
Old
fun.
school.
It was nice that Ryan pulled out. I love when Ryan pulls out the random list and let's just play a little game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this
I'm
is
in.
the time to get cute with it. You know,
It
and
is.
when all of the moves are done, I'll go back to this date. I'll bookmark it in my phone, and we'll see who was right and who was
Bill
wrong.
said Fitzpatrick is 37. So I thought he was mid or late 30s. So that sounds about right. Great show this week, guys. Thank you for your comments, questions, everything.
Yep. Bill, thanks, man.
Bill, great
Thanks, Bill.
stuff this week. Loved all the questions you brought to the table, brother. Off season rolls out now, guys.
I love it.
And normally we have a lot to talk about Sixers-wise, but I can tell you the way they are going right now, I'm going to leave the Sixers talk to you
Let's
guys.
talk about
Yeah,
Flyers.
I'll be
We'll figure
ranting.
something
Let's
raving
talk about
tomorrow.
Flyers.
You might – I know. Listen, we got the best hockey show in the business on Thursday nights with Hockey Happy Hour, but you might get a little bit of hockey talk here.
We'll
'Cause
dabble.
I don't
in
know
it.
if I could bring myself to talk about
The
Sixers.
Flyers are
in and out.
looking
I don't
good.
blame
We
you.
have to dabble in it, man.
But, yeah, I mean, listen, we're brought to you by Specialized Physical Therapy, Dr. Paul Vidal. Check him out, Burlington, Cherry Hill, Princeton, New Jersey. Find him on the web, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. Also brought to you by our newer sponsor, Ambuck Services Gutter Cleaning. You can find them at 856-879-5530 or visit them on the web, ambuckservices.com. Deck restoration, staining, tree trimming, deck installation, gutter cleaning, repair, whatever you guys need. Check these guys out. They got you. They got you covered. And as well as ATS Sports Picks. For all you junkies out there, we got March Madness coming up. Another big time to be starting to bet. So listen, get on there. Check it out. A2D promo code gets you 20% off on your first-time purchases. Hey, March Madness is a great time to do it. Win some money. Get your 20% off at A2D because we love to see that. It's ATS Sports Pick without the S at the end.com. For Chuck's Chrome, Mr. Ryan Brodo, should have Pete and Kevin back next week. We love you guys. Appreciate you. Check out The Fix tomorrow. Check out AM and the PM and all the rest of the programming here on A2D Radio, whether it's podcast form, whether it's going back and watching our shows. Until then, we'll talk to you guys soon. Have a great week.